own the chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
Oh my God, are you seeing this shit, bro? Tesla closed at $6.95. What the hell is going on?
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
Now with IBM getting here, I think it's just going to come more to the forefront, and people are going to get more and more eyeballs on Salesforce. Should see a really nice move.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
We got D's nuts in the crew. Every crew needs D's nuts. You know what D's nuts' number one holding is? Big C.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. We are in a little bit of a different situation here. As you can tell, I am not in the studio, whereas Fat Man Zoom is. There is a freaking blizzard outside, so I decided to take the safe route and do this from home. So what is up, Fat Man Zoom? How was your weekend? Are you ready for another crazy week in the stock market?
I am ready for that. We are coming live from Baltimore, Maryland. Westminster, Maryland, for those of you who really know Maryland, that's where you're at, is Westminster.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for a crazy week. I've had a great weekend. I feel good. And speaking of feeling good, let me shout out the starting five real quick. Jonathan Schreiber, Casey Back, Chris Lav, R. Evans, Allen, 316.
That's right. Jonathan actually admitted that he had no life, and that's why he was there first. So good on you. Good on you for that self-recognition there, big guy.
Bro, I've been all over Twitter all weekend.
You went on Twitter hard, bro.
I was up at 4 a.m. this morning. I couldn't sleep. I was on Twitter.
It was hilarious because I signed up to your notifications. So like I woke up this morning and I had like notifications galore from you on Twitter. It was funny.
I'm in my flow state with Twitter. I feel like I'm on fire. There's just a lot going on with all this GameStop stuff, and it's such a layered situation that it's bringing up all these other ancillary issues and commentary. It's a crazy situation that's beyond just GameStop.
Absolutely. And we've seen some of the other big name stocks, larger cap stocks kind of take a hit. And some people are like, well, maybe it's just other market sentiment. But there are also theories, and I think this is probably the one that's the most accurate, with some of the bigger name companies, and we talked about Melvin, Citron, and stuff like that, that have gotten squeezed out or over leveraged to a point to where they need to essentially sell some of their larger positions in stuff like Facebook and Apple to kind of make up for the losses that they incurred on GameStop, which is crazy. But that's kind of the thing that we're seeing, and we're actually looking to those as other opportunities to kind of get on those dips, because the reason that those are coming down aren't for fundamental reasons, aren't for, it doesn't devalue the company anymore. And we always talk about this, about looking for those opportunities, looking at stocks that are down for no reason. And I think that the stocks we're going to talk about later today too, are going to be good ones to get in on, especially since they've kind of been beaten down over the last couple of days.
Yeah, and it's also beyond GameStop, because Friday it was a blitz on a ton of historically shorted stocks. So I feel like the compounding effect of that, it makes a lot of sense that they've got to get that capital from somewhere. So if that is the case, then this could continue throughout the week. Yeah. And we already know futures are down so far. But yeah, it's going to be an opportunity, and it's really how low is this going to go? Yeah,
and I saw a couple of comments as we were going live. People were already getting salty about the title because of tonight's stream. But the thing of it is like, we're not trying to say that you should just sell your GameStop if that's what you want to do. If you want to hold on to GameStop or AMC or any other ones that are heavily shorted, we talked about a couple of other ones, and there's also rumors flying around that silver could end up getting blown up tomorrow. So if that's what you want to do, you want to chase stuff like that, then that's your money. You have that right to do that with. But in my experience, the way that you win in this game is not by chasing what everybody else does or chases. It is going after stuff that people are kind of leaving behind, and it works time and time again for the most part. And so that's what I always try to do. We always talk about going into the red zone, making the plays in the red zone. And so that is kind of what we're looking to. That's the kind of stuff that we're chasing, the stuff that's in the red more so than the things that are in the green. And so I think that GameStop definitely has potential to continue to move, especially as this may gain momentum and steam. But let's not forget, there are some really solid companies out there that were sold off for no real good reason.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And so one thing I want to point out is, everybody's giving commentary on this GameStop situation.
Yeah.
We are going to actually be on a podcast after this at 8:45 Eastern time. So if you guys want to join us, it's the Freddie Valois channel. We're going to talk about all of it. So that's sort of our opportunity to continue to have that conversation. We've talked about it in the channel in the past, but for us, this is also a reminder of what our channel is about. And, our goal is to, when we say help you own the chaos, is really to support those who or to create a space for those who want to be active investors. And really, it's not about what you should buy or should you be investing in the stock market. It's really, we want people to believe that they can, right?
Yeah.
Like they have the ability to invest in the stock market. But this channel is really focused on solid, fundamentally sound blue chip growth value stocks, companies that are going to be around for a long time. That doesn't mean that we don't day trade here and there. That doesn't mean we don't make spec plays,
right?
But we've been really intentional about what our focus is. And so GameStop is a blip on the radar, and it's something that's, I know some people are in, but I highly doubt we're going to be talking about this a year from now, when we're definitely going to still be talking about Apple and Amazon and all the big tech a year from now.
Yeah, and I know that you watched the All In podcast with Chamath, and I did too. And I mean, even they are admitted that like this is just going to end poorly at some point. It might not be this week, it might not be next, but at some point the rug's going to get pulled. There's a lot of angry, big money firms out there that will eventually have their day. And so we just try to provide perspective and what could realistically actually happen. If it keeps going and you guys keep ripping the hedge funds a new asshole, that's fine. Like, I got no problem with that. But, at the end of the day, we also don't want people getting hurt and buying something that's up, 5,000%, thinking that it's just going to keep going. So,
and there's channels for that. And you should explore that and decide, how you want to get into. And I, don't read my name, beat me to the punch, but like, this isn't going to be the channel for us to tell you how to get into GameStop or AMC or Dogecoin. Yeah. Spare me with the Dogecoin, spare me with the naked, like it's a waste. Like for us, it's a waste of our time and energy because that's not what we're about. And if anybody follows me on Twitter, you know exactly how I feel about Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah. And the funny part is that it was a meme, like cryptocurrency. It wasn't even meant to be anything other than just to be funny, and people were buying the hell out of it.
Yeah, I took issue with it, and I think people are trying to draw correlations between GameStop and Dogecoin and what's going on. And I think it is so misguided, and it just shows a lack of understanding of what's really going on. If you think what's going on with Dogecoin is the same thing that's going on with GameStop, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
And so, Chris says Doge is literally a meme. It
is.
I'm not even gonna get fired up. But anyways, the point is there's opportunities. We're not going to chase and end up holding the bag.
Right.
If you're in GameStop, good luck. We want you to win. We want you to crush it. If you're in AMC, whatever, we've been in it and out of it as well.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, both of us have sold out. We've made some profit on it. We're moving on. So what we're focusing on now is where are the opportunities and where do they lie?
Yep, Absolutely. And with that, we'll go ahead and get into our top stocks that we're watching for this week. But Fat Man Zoom, real quick, I just wanted to shout some people out. I see Steve King. I see Big Felix in there. What's up, my paper route? And Hope. What's up? So all those people that I just shouted out, those are the folks that are in the Chaos Crew. If you guys are interested in getting our daily watch list, want to be part of our private live streams that we do twice a week, all kinds of other good stuff, access to our public portfolios via Webull, which are up a ton. If you guys want to be a part of that, make sure you hitting that join button next to subscribe. We would love for you to be a part of the Chaos Crew. It helps support the channel, all kinds of other good stuff you get with the Chaos Crew. We'd love to have you guys over there. And if you want to be a part of the free watch list that we put out every day, I put the link in the pin messages in the chat as well.
All right, so let's do it.
All right,
top 5 stocks.
The top 5 stocks that we're watching this week, we'll start with, and I mean, I don't know. Nobody's going to be surprised by this, but it's going to be Penn National. Penn National has earnings pre-market on Thursday morning, and this is something that I'm super excited about. The stock has actually fallen from its $111 highs and now sitting where it closed at on Friday at $103, and they have earnings expectations of 28 cents. Fat Man Zoom, I almost think that this might be right in line with estimates. I have it just barely beating a couple cents. I think they come in at 32 cents per share. But I am excited about this. I would be surprised if they actually ended up beating this by a ton because of how far they've come from, especially with some of the losses they incurred 2 quarters ago and even last quarter. But I think that this time around they will do a good job. But I think that the analysts are actually could be right on the money here. We love Penn National, but so I think that it's not going to be so much about the earnings beat, but the expectations from their Michigan numbers, which they just did last weekend. So if you guys don't know, Michigan allows sports betting now. They open up their Barstool venue there, and we already talked about how they were the number one downloaded sports betting app in Pennsylvania. I have no doubts that they will do the same in Michigan. They're really starting to gain ground on some of their bigger players, such as DraftKings, MGM bets, and all that good stuff. So I think that that's definitely going to be a focal point. What I also think it's going to be a focal point that people don't really talk about too much is that Penn National, before Barstool and the Barstool bets, the app and everything, and online gaming, they're still a brick and mortar business as well. They have casinos all over the place. They're a regional casino. And so we talk about the online betting, but everything's going to start reopening in 2021 to a certain degree. Maybe not fully. Hopefully they'll be fully, but I'm looking for outlooks on that as well. I think that's going to be real key. We have California and Virginia that is also going to be allowing sports betting. So I think that those are going to be the key focal points for Penn National. Those forward-looking statements is what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Did you say 31 cents a share?
I said 32 cents per share. Yeah.
32. Wow. We're way off here because I went for 89 cents a share.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, I hope they do. I was just trying to be on the conservative side, but damn, I'm all about that.
They typically do see a downtick when I looked at from quarter to quarter, from previous quarter last quarter to this first quarter this year. So Q4 to Q1. And then the other thing you could make the argument for lower than expect, or not a huge beat, is really the fact that during that time, some of the casinos were locked back down. So that's the case. I'm going really bold, and I'm saying the reason why is because Pennsylvania revenues are in there, and I think that gives it a boost. This is an extremely bold prediction, people. I agree with you. I think tomorrow's going to be a tough day, and I think that you should wait on this one because I think there's going to be an opportunity to get below 100. And we've always said that's a buy. Maybe even depending on how bad it gets tomorrow. I don't want to scare people because I don't know what's going to happen, but it could get to like low 90s, and that's where Greg, we're excited for this one. Long term, this is one of our top stocks for 2021. This is going to be a monster. There's no doubt in my mind. So it's a good pick. I agree.
Any opportunity to get to load the boat on this thing, I think that I would take advantage of it. And if you're not keen on Penn, even DraftKings, and we talked about GNOG on our latest video. Those are all going to continue to do well. Anything in online betting and online gaming, I think, is just going to have a hell of a year. So But either way, Penn National is on the radar this week for their earnings. What you got next?
So number 2, I have Amazon. We've been amped for this one. It feels like we've been waiting forever. They're reporting earnings Tuesday after hours. $7.19 a share. So $7.19 a share is expected. They set the bar really low. I think they expected us to be reopened by now. And so I think that's why they lowered guidance a little bit.
Yeah.
This guidance was before the new strain started coming up. I have them beating monster beat, $16.17 a share. And I think that's conservative, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually go ahead.
So here are the reasons why. In the quarter was Prime Day, which historically isn't there. So Prime Day they get, and they already said in their last earnings, it wasn't accounted for, but they said they did $3.5 billion just on Prime Day.
Yeah.
For third-party sellers. And that was 60% increase year over year. So what else happened on Prime Day remains to be seen. I think this will be the biggest holiday sales on record, and I think most people would agree with that statement. Prime Video, I'm excited about. They showed increases in streaming 80% year over year. They saw international increases on that. I'm excited to hear what they have sort of going on in their video. But every segment that they have in their business is built to benefit off the lockdown, and I expect them all to crush, all to exceed expectations. But the key driver is really AWS. It's their cloud service.
Yes.
They had great growth last quarter. I expect to see continuation off this. I expect them to blow out, but I do think that AWS is the key to determine whether this thing goes off afterwards.
Yeah, and we look at the chart here. So I'll just get this out of the way. I actually have you beat, bro. I had 1823 was
right.
my expectations. And don't be surprised if we see $20 on this thing. Mm-hmm. I think that that's still very much on the table for Amazon because of the monster quarter that they potentially had. You know, I was on the fence with UPS as well because of that monster quarter as well. This was a record quarter for online sales and parcel delivery services. We already talked about FedEx a couple weeks ago. So I just think that I'm right there with you. I think that Amazon absolutely blows this away, and we have never been more bullish on this company. Looking at this, though, I think that if tomorrow does end up bringing a red day, I think it's more of an opportunity to grab some Amazon, especially if it comes back down to around 3170 or even 3100 flat. If by some chance we get opportunities on this below that, I would be loading the boat here because I think that once earnings come out and they surprise us, which we think they will, this could end up seeing up above $3,500 a share. And we've seen this come up over 3555, 3550 area a couple of times and get rejected. So that's going to be an area that I would watch for it to break out of if we do end up having those monster earnings that we're expecting. Now, again, we always talk about this, though. You know, earnings are always a crapshoot at the end of the day. If investors see something that they don't like in there, I'm sure we'll see this tumble down. But I just can't imagine a metric in which Amazon comes out with and says, and somebody wants to just sell this. Especially given the fact that this chart has been pretty much sideways since last quarter, which is mind-blowing to me, given the amount of money that's coming into Amazon, or that came into Amazon over that fourth quarter, Fat Man Zoom. So right there with you.
Yeah. And I just want to point out two comments. So Mad Dix said, hope Amazon announces split during this earnings.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
So one of our bold predictions for 2021, we predicted a 20-1 split, I believe. And along those lines, David Ball said Amazon equals 3206 for one share, which I don't know exactly what he's alluding to, but I think the common thing that's said is it costs $3,000.
Yeah.
It's worth more than $3,000.
Yes.
It's, in our opinion, right now, it's worth minimum $4,000. So I wouldn't be afraid of the sticker shock. We think it has at least 25% upside. And if you're looking at that as a measure, I think you're kind of fundamentally looking at it incorrectly.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for percentage gains here, and Amazon has the potential to make some really monster gains despite the price. So 100% agree with you on that one as well. The next one for me to watch here is going to be Snapchat. They have earnings after hours on Thursday. Their estimated earnings per share is at 7 cents. That's the highest expectations that they've ever had, and I think they beat that. I'm have them coming in at a dime, 10 cents per share. If Facebook was any indication as to how the social media platforms are going to turn out, then I think that Snapchat is going to do extremely, extremely well. And we've talked about how bullish we've been on Snapchat since the 20s. So again, something that we think that is just a legitimate company that deserves to be up here. It has come down a little bit, but it's been basically sideways for the last quarter. And Facebook came out and said that, they had a record quarter as well because of, all of the small businesses that started online shops and everything else with their advertising and marketing. Snapchat's very much in that category as well. I'm sure that they made an absolute killing in the fourth quarter. Let me see here. I have notes on this one. Let me see. I just lost my spot. So the quarter ending in December usually is a good quarter for online investing, but because of COVID-19 pandemic, the more economic activity has been done digitally, which we've been talking about over the last quarter and a half, and I think that this benefits not only Snapchat, but Pinterest also has earnings on Thursday, so be on the lookout for that one. But I do think they come in at 10 cents a share.
I have them at 8 cents a share. This was tough for me because I initially wanted to say this would miss. I thought it was ambitious, their expectations. But looking at it just as a business, so the ad revenue is the key for them. Their positioning, the way they're differentiating themselves from their competitor is great strictly from a business perspective.
Yeah.
Their profitability is still an issue, still something to obviously keep an eye on, but the market's forward looking. I love the way they're building relationships with their influencers. I love how it's a different medium for content distribution. And it feels like a little more like YouTube for social media, the way they're doing like the shows and I don't know why, but I get this sense that they're just more connected with their base than like a Facebook or an Instagram, which seems very transactional. Snapchat, it just feels like they're building more of a relationship, not unlike TikTok.
Right. Well, we've talked about
I do like it too.
We've talked about their AR technology as well, which has been big for Snapchat, and I think that differentiates them from a lot of their other competitors as well. So I think we could potentially hear more from that on that front too, which would be awesome. We're looking at the.
I like this stock. I do feel like we may have a sell-off afterwards, regardless.
It could be. It's been moving pretty sideways. If it moves below $48 per share, that might spell trouble for Snapchat. But that would definitely be an area that I'll be looking to accumulate if it by some chance holds that support. We break up above around $55 a share. I think that's where we could see some nice continuation out of this one. But we both like Snapchat for the long term, for the long run. Either way, I think it has a great quarter. What you got for the next one, my man?
So I have Alphabet, GOOG, probably next to Microsoft, probably the most underrated big tech. I think they're 1A, 1B as far as underrated. Estimates, so same thing as Amazon Tuesday after hours, estimates $15.98 a share. I have them coming in at $19.82 a share. A lot of the same catalysts you got as the other big boys. So like the cloud services is a high margin offering that we want to see grow, and that's going to be really indicative of cash flow. Their streaming platforms, some could say about that, looking for that as an opportunity. They have 35 million subs on their music platform and premium services, and they have 3 million subs on their TV. I don't think they've done a great job of leveraging their TV because obviously that pales in comparison to the big boys.
Right.
But really, YouTube is the key.
Yes.
And we're big fans of YouTube.
Obviously.
What it is the second largest search engine, advertising opportunity. I do still think this is YouTube in its infancy. And I think, mainstream knows like the top tier influencers that make money, but I think they underestimate the broad impact that it could have. Just like for somebody earning a living on YouTube, I don't think people realize how easy it is. And I don't want to say easy, but how many people it can impact. And I think that the more that picks up steam, that YouTube is going to be a legitimate opportunity to gain wealth and to earn a living and to have a career. And so YouTube, to me, for the next 5 to 10 years is the key for Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I look at the chart, this is another one that, we were talking about at the beginning of the show of stocks that have kind of sold off as a result of some of the GameStop craziness that's been going on. And this has fallen from 1934 highs, coming down to 1800 or 1807 or so, closed at 1833 after hours on Friday. This is one that I think that if it still hangs around this low 1800s is a really good buy, in my opinion. If they come in and beat earnings, expect this to go up and maybe perhaps retest those highs again, because again, this is just another one that's come down for no real good reason. It's a good quality company, and this is going to be on sale if we see the rest of the market kind of follow what the futures are doing right now. So I like Google as well, or Alphabet. And, again, it's funny when we look at the end of the quarter. So if you guys don't know how YouTube works and how you get paid based off of how businesses are paying for advertising. So we split that ad revenue with Google 50-50. So, our ad revenue has been going up because businesses have been paying more per ad, commercial or ad. So that's kind of been a telltale sign for us that we think that Google is going to do really well because they've been able to raise their rates and still bring in plenty of business. So like that one as well, Fat Man Zoom. And before I get to the last one, just want to remind you guys, we appreciate you guys hanging in here. We got 725 of you guys hanging out with us live. We certainly appreciate you all hanging out and spending your night with us. It's so awesome to have you guys hanging out. If you could do us a solid, if you guys are loving this stream so far, if you're enjoying yourself, give us a thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate that as well. And we'll get on to the next one, which is Peloton has earnings after hours on Thursday as well. I feel like I picked all of them that had earnings on Thursday. It's a magical day on Thursday. We'll actually be live on Thursday as well. If you guys want to catch that, make sure you're subscribing, hitting that notification bell for when we do go live for those earnings on Thursday. But Peloton has earnings at 8 cents. Call me crazy, Fat Man Zoom, but I think I went a little nuts on this one. I have them coming in at 27 cents per share. And I think that they just blow this out of the water. There's been a lot of speculation that Peloton's too high. I don't think it is. The stock's up 350% over the last year. I think it's got room to run still. Short interest in this one, for those of you guys that have been following short interest for a while, it's very, very tiny. There's hardly any short interest in this at all, which may end up, which for those of you who are short chasing some of these stocks may be unattractive to you. But when we look at this, that it's heavily owned by institutions at 71%, this could become a victim of what's been going on that we've talked about. But again, another opportunity. This is an opportunity to take advantage of something like Peloton because of everything that they have going on. There's a lot of people that said that Peloton's going to go away because gyms are going to open back up. And they couldn't be more wrong because of the way that they've been able to try to pivot to look ahead to that. That's why they acquired Precor, which has gym equipment in their public gyms. So they have their ass covered there too. So Peloton's going to continue to roll. It's going to continue to do well. I think that they have an incredible quarter. I might be wrong on the earnings estimates there, but I wanted to go bold on this one because I think it was worth it. We have not only the holiday season, but then if you're looking to make a resolution for yourself, which most people do about losing weight, I think that Peloton is just a screaming buy here. If it can hold at these 145 levels and perhaps above 140, I would say that it's just a buy all day long.
Yep. So I have, as far as my estimate, it's 16 cents a share. So I've been beating by 100%. And I don't think yours is that much of a reach. I think it's really how much they were able to accommodate as far as deliveries were concerned.
Yeah.
We at Own the Chaos actually ordered a Peloton bike a week and a half ago. And it's not coming in until March 24th. That's the delivery date.
It's crazy.
So demand has not stopped people. Holiday is going to be monster numbers. They're going to continue to see this demand stick throughout the year, I would imagine. So on top of that, they're adding 2 new products this year, apparently. And the Precor, the commercial exposure as well, is supposed to begin towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
So they have catalysts through 2022. This is a great company. We talked about the community. That's really what's going to be a huge driver as well. Growth in that community, low churn rate. Now, what it does after, I'm not so sure, but for long term, we feel really, really confident about it. If you want sort of an ancillary play, we did a video on Friday, Buy the F and Dip, where we mentioned Affirm. That's Peloton's their biggest client. I think if Peloton blows it out, Affirm does really well as well. I think it moves as Peloton moves with lower downside. So great call. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm excited for the week overall. And there's, it's interesting because we probably will start this week off red, but people, I think, kind of have lost the fact that we're in the middle of an amazing earnings season, and this is set to continue this week. So if these stocks come down off of amazing earnings, it's just all the more reason to buy them up, in my opinion. So I still feel bullish as ever on these, and really the stock market in general. If we have a down week because of what's been going on with the GameStop stuff, so be it. I'll be scooping up shares all day long. Yeah.
And so now let's get the cheesecloth condom Triple C stock pick of the week.
Yeah. So I was hesitant on this, but it's going to have to be the conglomerate of. So let me just preface this by saying this. So if you guys
going to say GME, AMC, and Nokia.
Yeah, just all of them. So we're just going to lump them all together. The reason I'm saying this, okay, if you guys don't understand what the Triple C stock of the week is, it is a cheesecloth condoms. These are stocks that are about as reliable as a cheesecloth condom. And so, like, can they continue to go up? Yes, absolutely they can. We're just going to talk about these shorted stocks as a whole, because eventually the rug's going to get pulled. And I just don't want to see people get burned by this. It's going to continue to go up. I'm sure it will. But you just don't know when the crash is coming. And so at this point, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth buying it all the way up here? I know that people feel as if they have like some sort of certain duty to buy GameStop because they're just going to stick it to the man. Fine. But at some point, the man's going to win. It's either going to be by government force or it's going to be by, the hedge funds that come in and finally take it back over. It will happen, unfortunately. But I just want people to make sure that they understand all that. And that's kind of my spiel. I'm going to get off my soapbox at this point.
Yeah. I have can I throw out a bonus stock?
Yes.
We've talked a lot about the IPO series of Social Capital, which are the SPACs.
Yeah.
Led by Chamath Palihapitiya. I got it, bro. IPOE, which announced their reverse merger, hasn't officially went through with SoFi, which is Social Financial. And we didn't realize it initially, but they are actually they're trying to compete with Robinhood.
Yeah. SoFi is, yeah.
What's that?
SoFi is, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is creating a perfect storm, and the market's already recognized this to an extent because IPOE was up like 20% at the end on Friday, I think. But I think there's this perfect storm created between a hate, a distaste, and a push against Robinhood, and another opportunity, along with this central figure, which is Chamath, who is endearing himself to the average Joe, to the retail investor.
Yeah.
And I think this is setting itself up to blow up SoFi. And I don't think the larger masses realize that SoFi is actually going to be competing directly against Robinhood. We know it. Those on Twitter know it. But I don't think that's common knowledge, especially to the analysts. And those Robinhooders have to go somewhere. And why not follow Chamath?
Yeah, well, and Chamath has been very vocal about this whole thing with Robinhood and how awful they have been with this entire thing. And for him to come out and say that, and then kind of allude to and talk about, and really this stock started to go off. IPOE did, and you guys can take a look at this. This made the move the instant that he put out a tweet basically saying that they have the ability and they are looking into building a Robinhood-like platform. So, and Chamath, I think, if there's anybody that was going to build something like this, I think that I would put my trust in him to get this off successfully. And obviously, Chamath isn't going to be the CEO and running the company itself, but he definitely has heavy influence on this for sure. And I think that I agree with you. This could definitely be something that would be major. Now it's gone all the way up to $27 a share. I think that there's definitely room for it for pullbacks, perhaps maybe around to 25 and even around $23 a share. But yeah, man, I agree with you. I think that this could definitely be a great opportunity for them to kind of capitalize on Robinhood's misfortune.
Yeah, and just to touch on that whole situation, well, one is what I want you guys to understand. I don't want to say understand, but here's how I look at it. You have the Cathie Woods, and I relate Cathie Wood and Mark Cuban. I put them in the same bucket. I think they're smart business people that put the right people in the right place and allow them to give them the information, and they make the decision, the business decision. And then you have Elon Musk and Chamath, who are ridiculously smart individuals who know the system, who understand the game, and they're just smarter than everybody else.
Yep.
And Chamath has the business acumen of a Mark Cuban, but he is an Elon Musk type, not to that extent, like Elon's a generational thing, but Chamath is right there with him.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with either group. It's understanding the difference. And so I'm always going to bet on an Elon Musk, a Chamath type, and more people are going to see sort of the visionary sort of mindset that Chamath has, but the way he looks at business, he's just going to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to work. So that's something to consider. Robinhood, the CEO, Vlad, is going to take the fall.
Yep.
But I'm going to preach this as long as this thing's going on. That's not the target, guys. And you guys know I went off about the cronyism, but really what has to, he's going to be the fall guy. I think he is going to end up having to step down.
Yep.
I know Mad Dix, this will lead right into the Q&A. He said, you mentioned Robinhood IPO will be big and you'll buy that. Do you stick to that after this mess? This was before all this happened that we did that video.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even IPO, to be quite honest with you.
I actually tweeted this out. Go follow me at Own the Chaos and Fatman Zoom at Fatman Zoom. I tweeted this out the day this happened on Thursday. I said, there goes that IPO. This now reminds me exactly of Adam Newman and the whole WeWork situation. You know, they were already on shaky ground because of how much they were, you know, they subscribed to that grow at all costs, much like most of Silicon Valley, and some of them end up working out and then some of them don't. That's the verdict's still out on Uber as far as I'm concerned. But I think that this is going to be something that's really dangerous. If they find it, like they basically almost went under. Had they not been able to get money from their investors to be able to stay afloat throughout all of this, they would have already been under. And I think that raises a ton of red flags for potential investors to put this thing to market. I think I agree with you. The IPO here is now very much in danger for Robinhood for sure. And I don't want any parts of it at this point.
Yeah, so going into the next Q&A question, Michael Alfaro, what's going on? What's your take on Visa? I bought in $1.19 last Friday on a huge pullback. Is that right? $119 on Friday?
No, probably $190.
$190. Okay. Great earnings, increased dividend announcement, and $8 billion stock buyback announcement. We like Visa. It's a great value play. And if you got it on the dip, good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. If I look at the chart here, it did come down. I think that there's definitely room for this to potentially come down a little bit further, but the sell-off was, again, probably in response to everything that was going on Friday as a whole, but their earnings were great, man. And with everything else that you had mentioned that they have as far as forward-looking statements are concerned, yeah, Visa is going to be a good one. And we didn't talk about PayPal, but they have earnings this week too. I think they're going to rock it as well. There's so many good things happening.
Carmike, thinking about dumping my Pfizer and picking up more AbbVie. Any thoughts if AbbVie will have more upside? Pfizer seems like the vaccine steam is wearing off. Both have earnings this week. What are your thoughts on that, Brad?
I was just about to mention that they have earnings this week, and I think AbbVie does continue to do really well. We look at the chart again, and it has come down. This potentially would be worth, I think, in my opinion, at least having some shares before earnings, because I do think that they have some really remarkable earnings. AbbVie is a little bit different and is positioned in a little bit differently than Pfizer is. And I think that if you can somehow scoop some AbbVie up around $100 a share, if it holds above that, I think you'll be in great shape. And I think that they do have really good, solid earnings.
Liam Minoon if IPO gets merger, do you think IPOF would tank? IPOE is merging.
Yeah.
Now, there's like I don't know, less than a 1% chance that it doesn't go through. It's happening. They announced their partnership. No reason that it's not going to go through. So let's be clear.
Uh-oh.
The merger, and IPOF is not predicated on the merger of IPOE. If anything, the consummation or them completing a merger will help IPOF. So every time a new IPO gets complete, the market gets more confident in this. And I think, Chamath said he's going to go to IPOZ. Yeah. I think by the time we get to like IPOJ, KL, I don't think it's the traditional $10 to $12, $12 to $14. I think these things, once he announces them, they go right to 20.
Yeah, so, I think so too.
Go ahead.
No, I think so too. I don't think it's I think it's only going to encourage buying on the next IPO, which would be IPOF.
And for those of you that don't know SPACs, it's not guaranteed, but it has a really confident case for a floor of $10 a share. It could slightly dip below that, but when you're thinking about risk reward, either like IPOF has come down. We have it as a buy, a really strong buy right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dave Loritz, how about other semiconductors outside of AMD like Micron and Qualcomm? Thanks for all you guys do.
What was the ticker again? I'm sorry.
Micron and Qualcomm, whichever one.
So I think that it's difficult. I like them both. I don't think I would pick one over the other. I would say that I probably would go with Qualcomm if I had to go with one. But I think that they're both going to do really well. I mean, Micron's just getting started, so I think there's definitely some upside there, especially in this whole space. But I think if you're going to go with a more safer, comfortable bet, then I would go with Qualcomm.
And to be totally candid, you're talking about like down the line in as far as rankings. Like NVIDIA is still, we talked about this when we were talking about 2021. We're still waiting on NVIDIA to consummate the deal with ARM. And we think NVIDIA is a great deal. I don't want people to get caught up in like the fact that NVIDIA costs $500. It's worth it. It's the best in class. AMD, I think we can both agree, is number 2, right?
Yeah.
And so like, as far as competition, Qualcomm has exposure to different areas as well, but like we still put them kind of in the same bucket. And so I don't know, we prefer best in class and we're willing to pay a premium for best in class.
Yeah.
So next question, Anton Zagorski. Brad, do you think AGGI has a chance to recover?
AGGI, this is a penny stock. Yeah. The thing of it is, I think it definitely has a chance to recover, but I don't hold out hope. The thing of it is, these are stocks that, this is an over-the-counter penny stock. It had a really nice run and went all the way up to 16 cents per share. Most of the time, you're getting into these pops and you're playing the pop. If you didn't take profit on there, then you probably should have, or at least taken something off the table. I always talk about this when you look at penny stocks in general. If you guys follow me on Twitter, sometimes I'll shout them out, but this was not necessarily something that I thought was going to go on and on forever. There's definitely still some potential here, but just don't think that this is going to be some sort of zip code changer or anything like that. But I think that it could potentially recover. But, again, it's an over-the-counter penny stock, so take that for what you will.
Ashish Ganti, how do you come up with a number for earnings per share? So we do earnings per share estimates more for fun.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is a rhyme and reason about it. First off, I think the statistic is the S&P 500 companies typically beat 83% of the time versus estimates. So estimates typically are a little bit more conservative. So it's safe to say if they're these big companies or established companies, they're probably going to beat. We're probably going to have them as a beat. I mean, unless you predict Tesla, missing earnings, which but that's where we start. The first thing is, if we believe in the company, there's nothing else to like, no other headwinds, we probably are going to say they're going to beat. And it's really just by how much.
Yeah.
And I think Brad and I are kind of similar where I'll explain what I do and Brad, you can add anything. I go to Yahoo earnings. So I just type in Yahoo earnings calendar. It shows me literally I say the ticker and it'll show me in a nice little list all of the beats. And so I'm looking green or red. And if the company's typically mostly green, I'm trying to figure out the average. I look at the last quarter, how much they beat. And then I look at last year, the quarter that I'm looking at that they're about to report, and then the previous quarter before that. So I'm comparing those four things, and I'm just looking at a percentage. How much did it go up by how much does it typically go up? And trying to make our best estimates from there. But it's a numbers game, and usually you'll see I'm just looking for a pattern.
Yeah. That's basically what I'm doing as well. I mean, I look at previous quarters to see how much they beat them by then and try to consider things that have happened over the quarter. And we talked about just during our earnings estimates this time around about how well the fourth quarter has been for a lot of these retailers. So we try to take some of that in consideration and make an educated guess, essentially, at the end of the day.
All right, I like this question. Danny Alvarado. If you had to choose from Peloton or Facebook, which one would you buy now? I don't want you to answer that question. 1, 2, 3, go. All right. So when I say 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
Say which one you pick. So we're going to say it at the same time. So on go sayers. All right.
All right.
Peloton or Facebook. 1, 2, 3, Facebook. My bad. 1, 2, 3, go. Facebook.
I was going to say Facebook too.
That's my fault.
That's all right. But yeah, no, I think Facebook's, if you had a gun to my head, I'm picking Facebook.
They're both great, but Facebook has had a pullback.
Yeah.
There's a difference. And Peloton has had a slight pullback, but not as much as Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook had price target increases. They crushed earnings. They deserve to be above $300.
Yep.
And quite frankly, you could make a case that they deserve to be at $350.
Yes.
So there's huge upside, but they're both great. They both have a spot in the portfolio. The other thing I wanted to do is, so that's the last question I'm going to take, but I'm going to do something fun with you because there are so many earnings.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go into the Discord. So Own the Chaos, we now have a Discord. If you guys want to join the membership, join the crew. It's $4.99 a month. We have a Discord where we come together, have these conversations. You also get our top 5 stocks every day, which, to be honest, you can get it for free. So if you go to ownthechaos.com, you get to watch us, you can get it for free. But we add a little bit of perks to it. So we have supports and resistances, we have entry points, and we also do private live streams, the whole kit and caboodle, and access to your portfolio. But you sent me a message in Discord. I'm going to just fire off some really good earnings that we didn't get a chance to predict.
Yeah.
I just want you to tell me if it's a buy or a sell, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's start with Chipotle.
It's a buy.
Baba.
That's a sell.
Wow. UPS.
100% buy.
Spotify.
Sell.
PayPal.
Buy.
Grubhub. First earnings.
Ooh,
Or no, that's not the first
that's
earnings.
not the first earnings.
I was thinking of DoorDash.
I'm going to sell.
Pinterest.
Buy.
Clorox Company.
That's a buy.
Activision.
100% buy. That's gonna do really well.
Nice. Regeneron.
Yes, that's a buy. By the way, EA Sports also has earnings this week. I would take them too.
Oh, I didn't even see their earnings.
Yeah, or EA, whatever, Electronic Arts.
Oh, and one that I already know your answer, but I think a lot of people don't realize this. Sirius XM.
They lost Barstool. They lost them.
Yeah.
So I would be a sell for me. It was pretty sad. I have Sirius Radio and now I can't listen to them anymore on my Sirius Radio.
Yeah, that's a big loss, and that's a miss on their part.
It is. I mean, we talked about Dave Portnoy, and he's in the conversations with, the Howard Sterns and Joe Rogans and stuff like that. Can you imagine what they should have shelled out for him? I don't know what they offered Dave Portnoy, but for him to turn it down and be like, it's just not worth my time. I feel like they would have had to offer him $100 million, just like they offered Joe Rogan, Howard Stern, all that stuff. And Howard Stern only does 3 shows a week. So
yeah,
I definitely missed opportunity for Sirius. I would be, if you hadn't sold it already, if you were in Sirius, there's definitely no way I'd be buying it now.
So to clarify exactly what happened, their Barstool's contract was up. So Barstool has a contract with Sirius. Their contract was up and they couldn't come to terms. So basically what happened was Barstool wanted more money and they felt like they were worth a certain amount, and Sirius did not want to pay out for them. So they couldn't come to terms. So they decided, hey, we're not going to renew. After they walked away, after Barstool walks away, Sirius reaches back out to Barstool and is like, hey, could we just buy like Dave? What about Dave? And like basically what Portnoy said was, they said, what would it take to get Dave to just do a podcast? And he was like, I'm not going to give you a number. You give me a number because my time is money and I don't have a lot of time. And like, he's like, it's going to have to be huge. And basically he alluded to Joe Rogan type, like $100 million type deal. And so they're not going to get him. No. And they really screwed up the negotiation, and they're idiots for losing. They should have paid him whatever the hell he wanted. Speaking of Penn, I didn't get a chance to bring this up. It slipped my mind, but Barstool in general, it's not just about the bets. That's this year's catalyst, but they are going to dominate the podcast space. Yes. They have deals. And the great thing about what they're doing is they recently signed Jake Logan. They recently signed Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and Nick Merckx. And these guys are huge players. Yeah. And the thing that I love about Logan Paul and Jake Paul is they're like having fights, and their fights that are going to be a pay-per-view. Barstool Bets is going to be betting money on it. Like, it's like they're double dipping. It's freaking genius. Yeah. Like, listen, I'm riding with great leaders, and like Dave Portnoy has shown at every turn that he is one of the greatest marketing minds there is. Yeah. And he's going to take this thing to the top. And for those of you who don't know, he helped build the following of DraftKings and FanDuel. So for all you who think that they're going to dominate them, he's one of the main reasons why they are where they are. Yeah. So anyways, I digress. That is a huge hit for Sirius. They screwed that one up.
I just don't understand. Like, and Dave said that like the number was kind of insulting. So I'm just like, what did they think that they, and then they wanted him to actually do the podcast 5 days a week. And he was like, no, they're like, there's no fucking way I'm not doing that. So yeah. Well, and the other thing with Penn I wanted to address too that I forgot to mention during our when we were talking about it, Super Bowl is also coming up. So I'd imagine that we see a huge run up leading up to the Super Bowl as well, because of the amount of money they're going to be making on the Super Bowl too. So I just want to get that in there as well.
And we just have a new member, Aaron. Welcome to the crew.
There we go. Welcome to the crew.
Nice, Aaron. If you go to onthechaos.com and go to the bottom, just ask a question. We'll get you the Discord link, so you can get the Discord link through there. That's all the questions we got, man.
All right, so there's 881 of you in here. Don't leave yet. We are not done yet. We're done on this channel, but if you guys go and check out the World Local News, I will be having our admin put in the link in the chat. We're going to be talking about this whole GameStop saga and what it means for Robinhood and the rest of the market as well. So if you guys want to continue to have that conversation, go check us out over there. Not only that, but it's a brand new channel, so we wanted to support them as well and just kind of help Freddie and Greg get their feet wet. And kind of lift them up a little bit in the YouTube space. So if you guys want to go hang out with us over there, it's going to be a lot of fun. They are hilarious. So it's not just going to be all serious talk. We're going to have a lot of fun with it too. So if you guys want to be part of that, there it is. The We Trade HQ admin put it in the link. Go click that link. We're going to be going live in about 20 minutes over there. And we're going to have more of an in-depth conversation with it.
We'll be in there early chatting. It's going to be all GameStop. So all you guys that are asking about GameStop, AMC, that's all we're going to be talking about. Yep. But listen, I'm actually going to make a plea. I don't know if these guys, Freddie and Greg, really know what we can pull. So I'm telling guys, you got to come out in force.
Let's just blow them up.
Let's go in there. Like we're going to give them numbers they haven't seen before. To be full disclosure, they've never hit 100 people concurrent and alive. I want to blow that number out of the water. So guys, support us, go over there and let's blow this thing out of the water.
That would be awesome. I know they would love it. They'd be over the moon over that. So that would be cool.
Did we talk about Tesla? No, but Tesla's a buy.
Yes, it's a buy it's under 800. So yes, it's a buy.
All right, brother. So we'll see you guys in the other live stream.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Hit that like button on your way out. We certainly would appreciate that as well. If you're visiting for the first time, hit that subscribe and notification bell too. That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll catch you over at World Local News. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.